Okay, so I'm stuck in traffic coming back from Wisconsin 2016. But first, let's begin by saying this episode is brought to you by Pacific Organic Bone Broth Chicken with Ginger. This has been my official drink of Wisconsin 2016. Bone broth cleanse, something different. So I got to, of course, meet Becky Lynch this time. That was my primary goal. Was Becky Lynch, as well as Rob, the artist for the WWE. So when I first got in, Rob was doing a panel. So I actually went to the panel, which was nice. I was there with other, maybe 10 people. I started getting more and more people towards the end because Becky Lynch was a panel right afterwards. So you had to give a couple of nice stories. Nice guy, sounds really cool. I picked up some more artwork. Probably gonna show while I'm driving. I picked up his Becky Lynch one, as well as Demon Finn Balor, because I'm currently rocking a Bulletproof Balor Club t-shirt. Got a couple people said too sweet as I was walking, which is nice. The convention is pretty much now the whole Downey Stevens Convention Center. I mean, it is massive. It is a huge convention. But now there's actually walkways, which is nice. They actually had a gaming section up top with the photo ops were. So, it's laid out better. Again, it's still not a comic convention. It's a pop culture convention more than anything else. So now I'll go right into the Becky Lynch, the meat of why you're here. He did the Q&A. They actually put VIPs up in the first 3 rows, which was cool. Except the mic stand was at like row 6. After everyone moved forward and sat in those spots, then they did the lineup for questions. So either you just camped near the mic, you got a question, but she only did about half an hour for a QA. Things I didn't know. I didn't know she went to Columbia University. She lived in Chicago for a while. There's a place she loves to go to, honestly. It's called Tempo. 24-hour place where they do I believe it was it's like banana, walnut, honey omelet. That she says is amazing. So, if you're in the area of near there, that's Becky Lynch's favorite food. Just let you know when she's in the area. People asked, if there'd be a Women's Money in the Bank, and she answered, it would be great to see. So she would be in it. She is very quick-witted, which you could guess if you follow her on Twitter or any social media thing. She's very punny. She's also very, very well spoken. And of course, the Irish accent is just icing on the cake. Someone asked about the Divas Revolution. What would she have done differently? And of course, she was like, well, I think instead that we should have invaded. It shouldn't have been, your friends, now fight. So the NXT girls just showing up and then put the other chicks on notice would have been a lot better. But she was at the same time confused as to why there was a revolution that needed to happen anyways. Effectively, she was like, we are women's wrestlers. Why should people be amazed when women know how to wrestle? Which I thought was brilliant. For the longest time, people were like, man, these women can wrestle. Women should have always had a wrestling aspect. I don't know why as a fan base we sat and we let the E go the bra and panties route. We're going to defend the title, the women's title, in a pudding match. Here's Miss Rumble. Why fans settled for that being the only source of women in professional wrestling? All the time you had someone like Chyna, who was doing a good job breaking down barriers, but still, the vast majority of women, even though they had some talented women, were subjugated to really crappy booked angles. This, of course, until NXT showed up when it was like, women can actually wrestle. Yeah, let them wrestle. The talent base was there for quite some time. If you're talking post-invasion, they had a really solid roster, but just couldn't do anything with them. And then, of course, there's the dregs that was, of course, the Diva Search era. But, about another time. So it's refreshing having someone say, women can wrestle. We're in a wrestling company. Why does it seem so odd that we can wrestle? And they can put on great matches. She likes being part of SmackDown, which, of course, is the brand that she watched growing up because she didn't have cable. And a little girl said that Becky Lynch was her idol, and I thought Becky was going to cry. She calls up to the stage, gives her a hug, she's like, oh, I have a bandana. And then pretty much gives her, like, her bandana. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. And then gave her, like, another big hug. And I was like, that's fantastic. It's my first full, like I said, my first full panel. And I was like, she's fantastic. Put all the belts on her. Every belt. Women's tag belt. We're at the Divas belt so she could be champion. Have her be the first person on SmackDown to win the NXT Women's Championship. That's the person you want front and center, pushing the brand that is women's wrestling. Someone asked what she's going to do for SummerSlam. She's like, well, her plan was to kick Ava Marie's head off, but she can't. And then I was like, too soon? Too soon? It's like, oh, everyone knows. They didn't mention, well, there could be a third person. She's like, someone's medically cleared. And she was like, oh, Emma? And I was like, oh, if Emma were to show up and be on the SmackDown brand and take the place of Ava Marie, that's like double Christmas. You don't ever see Ava Marie, who is just a thermonuclear amount of heat. You instead would get to see Emma. So you would get to see a bunch of people who actually can wrestle. You'd be like a nice NXT clinic. Totally all about that. The photo op, it was nice. You know, Wizard's really gotten to the point where it is, take your stuff off, have your tag ready, go. Get you in, get you out, on the next person. You know, in the past, you used to be able to at least maybe say something, it was like, no, it's... Bright side, though, the moment you walk past the yellow line, I got to walk past as my picture was being printed. So a few minutes later, my picture was printed, which was awesome. Downside, the building's all concrete, so the GPS was totally messed up. So I got almost no steps for Pokemon Go. I had a 2-kilometer egg that I tried to hatch when I was there. No, I got like 1.2. At most, I was walking outside the building. So, great meeting Becky Lynch. I say, if you're on the fence about meeting her, no, get off that fence, go meet her. Definitely worth it. You know, just a photo op. You know, she loves what she's doing. She has actually a really great story about starting when she was 15, retiring when she was 19, coming back when she was like 25, 26, when she got signed by the E to go to NXT. So, you know, I think they picked a fantastic person to be the number 1 women's pick for SmackDown, the Queen of the Blue. And I'm still stuck in traffic, so I will now also end with the discussions online. Conor McGregor. I haven't done anything about that because, to be honest, I'll add it to a video. I'm not going to make a video specifically about it. He doesn't need any more stuff said about him. He's a small guy, he's a tiny guy, but when you're some wrestling fans, everyone was like, so-and-so beat the crap out of him. So-and-so beat the crap out of him. Well, Brock Lesnar tear him in half. Yeah, if a guy's 145 and Brock Lesnar weighed in at like 265, yes. I mean, you know, Brock Lesnar should destroy most people, professional fighter or not. He's a massive individual. But, you know, Conor McGregor is a guy who figured out a great way to get lots of media exposure really quickly en route to his UFC match the weekend of SummerSlam. Do I think he thinks wrestlers are messing him in the head? He might. Do I think that he might actually be like, you know, they're all just a bunch of weirdo jokes? Hey, if he does, that's fine. The E wanted him for a while when he said he was retiring from mixed martial arts. But you know what? He knows to use social media, so kudos for that. I think he's on the most recent issue of Men's Health magazine, so he does have a multimedia crossover appeal. And you know, he knows how to work the system. So for that, I say, you know, good job. That's some solid work in there. And, you know, I wish him the best of luck at UFC. I think it's 202. I'll be watching NXT TakeOver, you know, because I'd rather see Shinsuke, Samoa Joe than anything with Conor McGregor. So to recap, beyond the fact that I couldn't really hatch any of my eggs in Pokemon Go, go Team Mystic. Much like SmackDown, you gotta support the blue brand. You know, it was a nice event. Feet hurt from standing, but you know, Becky Lynch was definitely worth meeting. The QA was done very well. I wish it could have been a little bit longer, but you know, they tried to get a lot in that 3-hour period with her. You know, a Q&A, photo ops, autographs. I mean, she's going to be exhausted by the time she ends up hopping on a flight and heading over to Brooklyn.